Jesus here is not talking about the occasional sin. He's talking about a pattern of sinful behavior. There are three things that we can be slaves of. First is slaves of culture and materialism, the desire to have things. We are constantly bombarded by advertisements of things that we need that we didn't know we needed. And then we're always attracted to buy these things. Desire to buy something is one thing, but actually following up and buying that thing is quite another matter. We buy things that we don't need and we can't afford. I understand that sometimes we have to buy things on credit, like, when you're investing in a house, you don't probably have all the money to pay up front. You do it on credit. That is an investment. Or there's an emergency and you have to use your credit card and you do stuff on credit. But do we have a pattern of living beyond our means? Do we have a pattern of living beyond our means? Do we have a pattern of buying things that we don't need and we can't afford? Because if we do that, then we are slaves of materialism. Second, we can be slaves of sin patterns. There are numerous kinds of sins. There are numerous sins. Sometimes we pick up sins in our youth, right? And those sins stay with us. That's why we try to protect our youth. If there's a message that we can give to our youth, don't exercise your freedom to try stuff. Don't explore stuff that are obviously questionable. Because those things that youth get into, that we got into, that stays for life. You think, well, I'm married now, that's gone away. Or I've got kids now, that's gone away. No, those things, those habits that you accumulate in your youth, they stay in your house, in your closet. And when the time is appropriate, it raises up its head. Doesn't it? And you wonder, wow, it's been years since I thought about this particular sin, and here we are doing it again. In their 1991 song, Enter Sandman, Metallica sings these words. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. And never mind that noise you heard. It's just the beast under your bed, in your closet, in your head. He might as well be talking about a youthful sin that it's raising its head again. Third, we can be slaves of temperamental weaknesses. Slaves of temperamental weaknesses. We talked about slavery to culture. We talked of slavery to sins that we picked up in a youth. But I want to go further than that. Slaves to our temperaments that we are born with. We all are born with certain temperaments. And those temperaments have their own weaknesses. But if we are not careful, those weaknesses exacerbate over time. So let me give you some examples of different temperaments and different weaknesses. Maybe you're the temperament where indiscipline, you have the weakness of indiscipline and lust. Or maybe you're the temperament that has impatience and anger. Maybe you're of the temperament that has the weakness or the sin of fear and perfectionism. Yes, perfectionism can be a sin. Just like there is healthy fear, there is healthy perfectionism. Just like there is significantly unhealthy fear, there is also significantly unhealthy perfectionism. Or maybe your weakness, your temperamental weakness is something to do with passivity, where you are so passive that you don't do anything for anybody around you. You're selfish and lazy. You don't do anything for yourself, you don't do anything for anybody around you, and you don't do anything for God. Maybe that is your temperamental weakness. Maybe we have a variety of sins that we do, and if we do, we are slaves to all of them. One by one, you can list out the things that you're a slave to. A slave to lust, or a slave to anger, a slave to impatience, a slave to fear, a slave to whatever. We can identify the things that we are slaves to.